Hello.
Hey, Marcia.
Hi.
Hey, it's Dave Lawrence.
Hey, Dave.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you too.
Hello.
Hey, Marcia.
Hi.
How you doing there?
I'm good.
You got an okay signal? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you hear it okay?
I'm hearing you good. It's Marcia Ball, piano, singer, coming to town, and a whole bunch of dates you've got lined up. Tattooed Lady and the Alligator Man latest record still?
Yes, it is.
Tell people a little bit about what's in store. Who's coming with you and what can we expect?
Well, I'm coming as a special guest of Johnny Nicholas and his band Hellbent. That's Scrappy Judd and Bruce Hughes and John Chipman, and we're fronted by Johnny Nicholas. And, well, I'm coming as a special guest and as part of Johnny Nicholas and his band Hellbent. And Hellbent is Bruce Hughes on bass and Scrappy Judd on guitar and John Chipman on drums, and fronted by Johnny, who plays both piano and guitar. And, we've played gigs forever together. I've recorded on his records, and he's recorded on my records. A couple of years ago, we came to Hawaii, my very first trip to Hawaii, and played some gigs, and it went real well. So we're making our triumphant return engagement.
Nice. You may be a new name to some people, but you've been around a very, very long time. You grow up in Vinton, Louisiana. Paint a picture of how this place impacted you.
Well, Vinton, Louisiana is 40 miles from the Gulf of Mexico and 10 miles from the Texas-Louisiana state line, kind of in the heart and soul of a real creative part of the rhythm and blues world, and what ultimately turned into the rock and roll world, being close to Port Arthur, Texas, where Janis Joplin is from, and close to Beaumont, Texas, where Johnny and Edgar Winter are from, and a crossroads of Cajun and country and music that we took for granted, soul music, R&B, and, just a time and place that was very funky and in a generation where people loved to dance.
I know your grandmom and aunt play a role in your musical influence.
Yes. My grandmother played piano, and my aunt played piano. So the piano appeared in my house, when I was 5 years old or something, about to start school, and the lessons started right then too. So
explain how you gravitated at a really, really young age. I get that it's in the house. How do you start playing it and showing some skill?
Well, they played popular music. They weren't like classical musicians. My grandmother played Tin Pan Alley and ragtime music, and my aunt played songs of Gershwin and the stuff from the 40s and 50s. It was really pretty, and show tunes and things. So it wasn't a serious classical education so much as, although that was what my little piano teacher was trying to instill, but for the most part, I had a lot of great outside influences. And my cousin and I used to kind of compete to see who could snag the most songs by ear. We'd hear them, and then we'd try to play them. And we competed a little bit about who could grab the most of that.
Where would you hear them? Radio? Somebody playing them?
And from her mother, my aunt, and from our grandmother, and from the sheet music that we had, and the radio. And we didn't have a lot of records in our house. We didn't buy a lot of records, but there was just music. When I was a little kid, we lived across the street from a dance hall. It was a Catholic hall. It was a meeting hall, but it being that part of the country, dances every Wednesday night in the summer, and at least once a month the rest of the year. And I could hear it, as I say in my song Down the Road, I could hear it from my bedroom screen window.
When did you know you had the drive to be a performer?
Gosh, I guess I was always a ham. I don't know. But I, in college, started singing folk music. I didn't really sing until I got to college. I never really did. I didn't think I could. I met a girl who was singing folk music, and she recruited me to sing harmony with her. And that's when I started singing. And soon after that, I got in a rock and roll band.
Is that Gum?
And, yeah, Gum. We played in Baton Rouge for a year or so, and then I moved to Austin. And, a series of kind of lucky events and crossing of the right path and meeting the right people who let me be in their bands and led me along. And that went on for the first, 8 or 10 years of my career, really kind of going with whichever way the wind blew me.
Frida and the Fire Dogs, that's one of those enterprises?
Yeah, that was a real lucky break too, though, because Now, that was when I moved to Austin, and there was a time right about then where I was just reading about Graham Parsons and his love of country music and how he was a very influential, very charismatic person, and he got, in with the Byrds, the band. They made Sweetheart of the Rodeo. And even before I got to Austin, we were very fond of that record. I just always liked genre-bending music. I loved the band because they played... It was not rock and roll per se. It was some new genre of America and folk and all these interesting styles. And so that had happened, and I got to Austin, and I met a bunch of guys who grew up out in West Texas and had a deep love of country music, although they had played every other kind of music in the world on the way to getting back to playing country music for hippies, like we did. And so it was really the right band and the right style at the time.
You've had this career where one of the things I went to college in Boston.
I'll tell you what the connection is. I was on Rounder Records.
Oh, yeah, Brad Paul and everything up there, right? Okay.
I was on Rounder Records. That was the deal that I got in like 1982. We used to play Johnny B's in Somerville.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if it went any farther back than that, but Rounder was busily exploring all the music out of Louisiana. I was one of the earlier ones that they got, but pretty soon Scott Billington and Brad and all those guys started coming down to New Orleans a lot, and they were recording
all that
the
Zydeco
bands and the New Orleans R&B bands, and they got Irma, and then that led when they had Irma and Tracy Nelson both on the label. Then we made our record Sing It together. And that was a giant step toward recognition from me, and of course a dream come true at the same time, because both of those women were heroes of mine. So, who's
your biggest hero that you're grateful that you got to explore music with?
Well, I'd probably say Irma, because she was early on someone who I heard when I was a kid. I had a grandmother. My other grandmother lived in New Orleans, and we went there for holidays, vacations, and everything. And my cousin my age and I would go. They let us go when we were 13 to a big show at the auditorium, and Irma was on the show. And I remember it clear as if it were yesterday, and just never forgot her music and her personality and her whole demeanor, and which is unchanged, I might say, to this day. She's still that incredibly powerful and gracious person who I saw when I was 13 years old.
I love that connection of seeing them, then you get to play with them, the lessons that you learn from them, the kind of person that they are. That's what it's about right there. When you think about the biggest lessons that you've learned, which have gotten you through maybe difficult times, struggles, something that when your fans listen to you and they appreciate getting to hear from you after all these years, any sort of ingredient in life that's important to pass along that you picked up?
Longevity is good. Try to stay healthy. Don't hurt yourself. And it's been my original plan. Don't hurt myself. And last a long time. And I'm still trying to improve my craft, and that's a challenge.
Where did you get the title for the Tattooed Lady and the Alligator Man latest record?
That song just popped into my head. Those people, it's like they walked up on my porch, knocked on the door. I don't even know. I think about it, where did that come from? But, the minute they showed up, I was telling their story.
It's great.
That's the odd way that these things happen sometimes.
Well, that's a good connection to Hawaii, which is a storytelling kind of culture here.
Oh, definitely.
People can appreciate what you bring to the table. The Tattooed Lady and the Alligator Man latest record from Marcia Ball. Great pleasure to have you as part of the show here on All Things Considered with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this.
It's an exciting trip, and certainly don't have to bundle up, but travel safe. And when
I'm flying from Washington, D.C. to Hawaii.
You're going to have to dress warm for the first part of that to get on the plane. So you will have your bundled up gear, and I guess you should bring it because you're going to have to leave here.
And go to Calgary.
Right? Oh, man.
I know. I'm going to be the most grateful person. I'm going to have that big smile on my face that says, "Oh, I'm so happy I'm here."
Right? Yeah. I mean, after I don't know why I think of the Budweiser horses when I think of Calgary. And you need a jacket probably to hang out with one of them because they like it cold. Hey, I give you a big hug and a high five, and be safe, Marcia.
All right. Thank you so much. Cue the trumpet. Okay. Hey, this is Marcia Ball, and I'm hanging with my friend Dave Lawrence on All Things Considered, Hawaii Public Radio.
Sounds great. Listen to you. Look, you've been doing this a short time, right? I learned from the beginning of the conversation.
A witty bit. Witty bitty bit.
All right, Marcia, I'll give you a big hug. And
all right, thank you, and I'll see you soon.
Yep, if you got time and you want to follow us up and do a thing, we have a nice piano in the studio. We have a nice little studio here. We could record a little thing. Wouldn't air while you're in town, but it would be something for down the road. We could stick it in there at some point. I could put it on the web. If it's a hassle and you just want to enjoy your days off, you do that too. I just didn't want to, you did a nice phoner. That's cool. But if you wanted to do that too, you can. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you. We'll talk about it and let you know what we might do.
Yep. You keep it in mind.
Is that okay?
That's perfect. It's wonderful.
Okay.
All
right.
And on that note, a big hug, a big high five, and
you.
Wishing you nothing but safe travels.
All right, dear. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcia.
Okay.
Bye.